Hi everyone, I'm Chris Hernandez, and this is the Weekly Report, your look at news from the city of Kansas City, Missouri. Recently, our city manager, Troy Schulte, along with council members heading up the KCI Terminal Procurement Selection Committee, announced the recommendation of Edgemoor Infrastructure as the preferred team to design, build, and finance the new single terminal at KCI.
We went through a thorough process. We tried to keep an open mind to all proposals. There was a lot, as you know, there was a great deal of noise surrounding the process. But again, I give the committee, led by our outside counsel and internal House staff, a lot of great work in trying to marshal it, focus that information, make sure that we were dealing with facts and data only, and try to come to a decision that was reflective of the committee as a whole, not individuals in particular.
This has been a tough fight, and frankly, it should be a tough fight because this is a billion-dollar project that is going to be transformational for our city. This means thousands of jobs. It means an economic development future for Kansas City that is bright. And my hope now is that we can take this recommendation to the council, let the council look at all of the facts and data that we have presented, let the council make the decision on how we proceed, and then ultimately it will be up to the voters of Kansas City in November of this year to decide whether or not they agree that Kansas City is ready for a new single terminal.
The selection committee determined that Edgemoor came to the table with the best overall proposal based on the firm's experienced project, design, and finance approaches. Now, 2 days later, Edgemoor gathered its project partners to hold a news conference at the headquarters of KC's Clarkson Construction to outline their project goals. The team pledges strong local and minority hiring during the creation of more than 3,500 local construction jobs.
About 2 months ago, we got a phone call from Edgemoor Infrastructure, Clark Construction, and asked us, hey Clarkson, do you guys want to be part of our team to procure the brand new terminal at KCI? And we said, of course, with maybe in parentheses. And I knew after the first meeting, this can really be a good fit. We do have the same values. We're both safety conscious. We both do quality. Community outreach is very important. Inclusion of minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, local businesses, if possible, is important. That's what Clarkson has done all these years.
We have an incredible track record in the design and construction of airports. We have, as a team, delivered over $60 billion worth of aviation work, 30 different airports across the country and the globe. And so we understand how to work in an airport. Passenger safety, not interrupting airline operations. We've designed and built all the appropriate facilities that this terminal will have. The baggage handling systems, inspections, where customers come in to the airport, the parking garages, central utility plants. We've done all that before. We understand how to build on airports, and we bring that expertise to help Kansas City get a great new terminal.
To stay current with the latest news about the proposed new single terminal, visit kcmo.gov/newkci. A special representative of Chiefs Kingdom made a personal appearance at downtown's City Hall last week. Yes, the Chiefs' Red Friday flag was set up on the south steps of City Hall. Fans, including many city employees, signed that flag. The flag will hang in the Chiefs' locker room as a reminder to players of support from their hometown fans. The Chiefs partnered with Ronald McDonald House Charities to sponsor the Red Friday Flag Tour in order to raise money for families in need as they care for ill and injured children. And now here's some news about what's happening from some of our other city departments.
A little-known area of the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department has one of the most challenging and important functions of police work. Property and Evidence maintains literally thousands of pieces of items that range from bicycles to guns to baseball bats to drug money. Sergeant Santiago Garza describes the purpose of the unit.
We have the responsibility of maintaining any and all property and evidence collected on this police department through investigations or voluntary turn-ins. In the investigative process, we work closely with detectives, prosecutors, and representatives of the court system, along with our lab partners, to maintain the chain of custody for any and all evidentiary items.
There are currently 9 people who work in property and evidence, keeping track of every single item that comes through KCPD, and the collection is growing every year.
Over the last 17 years, the amount of items that we've received and we're taking in on a yearly basis has been consistently growing. So for example, this past year, 2016, we took well over 80,000 items into our unit. That includes everything from guns and drugs and money and any and everything else associated with any type of investigative crime. Because there's a lot of evidence that's recovered, whether it's DNA or fingerprints and that sort of thing. So this is all inclusive, but currently in this past year we were over 80,000 items. By comparison, just in 2005 we were at about 55,000. So that number is consistently growing.
Keeping track of it is a complicated process, but everything is cataloged and stored efficiently to make sure the chain of custody is not lost when and if that item might be needed for actual evidence in a criminal case.
Whether you're a seasoned officer of the field, whether you're a detective, whether you work in the crime lab as a technician, anywhere along the chain, it has to be a very organized and structured process for collecting and maintaining the evidence. So it starts in the field most of the time. Officers will recover, and they use our protocols and procedures to properly recover that individual item. A gun is recovered much differently than drugs. Drugs are recovered much differently than, say, a found bicycle. But everything has to be respected equally. And so ultimately, as it moves through the system, because it goes from the field officer to the division station where it's going to be held until a courier can pick it up. And from here, it may go directly to the lab. It may go to a prosecutor's hands for review. A detective may want to see it. Depending on the item, it could have a couple different paths to follow. But overall, that chain of custody is highly critical, and everything along the way has to be done in a very organized and meticulous fashion.
We took a trip to the warehouse where property has been stored for years. The huge building is located in an undisclosed location, and the walkthrough can be an overwhelming experience. So how long does KCPD keep all this stuff around?
If it's an item that was generated during an investigation, it has to go through the investigative process, which means that it's considered evidence and it was collected for whatever reason. So a detective and a lot of times or a prosecutor has to authorize the release of a property item. Once that is complete, then we can get it back to the owner. Whether it's a handgun, it's a bicycle, it's a baseball bat, any number of items. If it's evidence, it has to go through the same processes. But once we have a release from a detective and we're authorized to give it to someone, we will make every needed arrangement to make that happen. But that could take years sometimes. Sometimes it's done within the first few days of it being collected. It just depends. That's just a very wide-ranging possibility. Now, if it's an item that was just voluntarily turned in, it was just confiscated for safety reasons, it doesn't have an evidentiary value. It's considered safekeeping is the term that we use on our police department. Those we can return pretty quickly, pretty much as soon as we know who it belongs to and we can verify the ownership, we can get it back to that person. So once again, depending on the item, it may be within the first day or two. And typically, if someone hasn't come to get their things within 40 days, at that point it's going to be subject for disposal. Our police department participates in propertyroom.com, which is an eBay style format. So for things that are of value, that there is no claimant. Either someone has not come to get it or we don't know who to give it to, it will go to that.
What happens to your stolen property? Maybe you lost a valuable item years ago. Have you checked with KCPD? We
organize appointment dates for people to come in and pick up property that we know that belongs to them and that we've confirmed can be released to them. And in this facility, it's open Monday through Friday. Between 8 o'clock and 3 o'clock Monday through Friday, we take phone calls to make these arrangements, to make these appointments. The actual appointments are set up on Tuesdays from noon to 3 for the public, and then on Thursday mornings from 8 a.m. till noon. So that gives us a wide range of hours to get people accommodated and make those appointments. And then 24 hours a day, anyone can send us an email. We review the emails each and every day. Our property and evidence at kcpd.org is our main email address.
Here is the information on how to recover your property. You can also see items that were never claimed at www.propertyroom.com. propertyroom.com. I'm Sergeant Matt Fisher. Have a safe week.
The 7th Annual Harvest Moon Festival happens on Saturday, October 7th at 31st and Troost and is supported by the Neighborhood Tourist Development Fund. Here to tell us more about the event is festival founder Teresa Bratsky, who is also the president of Ticor Community Development. Teresa, thank you so much for being here today and for telling us about the event.
Thank you, Consuelo. First, I'd like to say we always, as Native people, identify ourselves by our tribe or our nation. So I am a Miami of Oklahoma, a federally recognized tribe.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. That's so important. Give us a little background on the significance of the location of the festival and the time of year that the festival takes place.
First of all, this is harvest time. It would be time to move indoors. For folks like my people, it would be finding your winter quarters because you've got to start putting food away, hunkering down, settling in, storytelling time, wonderful times. And we like to do it on the full moon. However, we had to compromise since we live in today's world for the Saturday nearest the first full moon in October.
And the location, 31st and Troost, is so important.
I'm sorry, yes, of course, the Osage Trail, and formerly known as the Santa Fe Trail. But it is a very, very spiritual area due to the fact that all of the tribes, when they were removed from Missouri, moved this away right through Kansas City off the river.
And can you tell us about the activities that will happen on October 7th that are related to this history?
This Four Winds Spiritual Tour, which is so exciting, yes, we will have a hoop dancer, Tony Duncan again, and his beautiful wife, Violet, who is a storyteller for us. They are coming in from Tucson, Arizona. We have Chiefy Roy, who's coming in from Oklahoma. We have the Oklahoma Fancy Dancers out of Anadarko, I believe. We have Dennis Rogers, who's Navajo from Topeka. We have a lot of other local folks who will be performing. So we will have visual, we have the physical in the actual arts booths that will be here. We have a children's festival from noon to 2. We call the Powwow Chow Wow, and we do that so that the children learn to eat healthier and have alternatives to video games. We want them up dancing, doing wonderful things, having storytelling. And then I do the healthiest of all. I do the traditional candy throw to the children.
That sounds delicious. And how many nations will be participating? Indian nations will be participating this year.
We are honoring, in conjunction with one of our partners, the Missouri Humanities Council, the nations who were here originally, the 10 nations who were aboriginal to the state of Missouri, and of course were removed when Andrew Jackson took office. We have no federally recognized tribes left in the state of Missouri. They are in Kansas. However, the exciting thing is that we're bringing them all back to honor them with a plaque. We'll do that at noon. We hope to have a visit from either the governor or lieutenant governor. They have expressed interest in attending, so that's exciting. We end up with about 15 or 20 of the federally recognized nations or more.
From across the country?
From across the country, yes. About 5% or more of the people who come in actually are from out of the state of Missouri. Others are local, we hope, because the intention is dialogue, understanding, this wonderful interaction. Come dance with us, come share with us, come hear our stories. Understand what it's like to be an urban Indian here in the middle of a city. We're the only one in the United States who does this. Bring your lawn chair, there's no admission. So come in, sit with us. It's family friendly. Stay all day because the stage rotates every hour. It's a different group.
Teresa, where can people find out more about the event?
HarvestMoonFestivalKC.com. on the web. And please friend and like us on Facebook.
Well, thank you so much for sharing information about the event. We're really looking forward to it.
We thank you.
The Neighborhood Tourist Development Fund supports local nonprofits that bring cultural, social, educational, and recreational activities to our area. To learn about additional upcoming events, visit kcmo.gov/ntdf.
You might have heard that pollinators are in decline, but you can help support the bees, birds, and bugs that keep our state green by planting for pollinators. Fall is an excellent time to plant a pollinator garden, especially for Missouri's native plants. A pollinator garden can be as small or as large as you like, from a few wildflowers in the corner of your yard to a field full of native species. Native plants are easy to care for. They are adapted to the Missouri climate, so there's no need to worry about protecting them from frost or watering them once they're established. Plant an assortment of flowers that bloom at different times to support a variety of pollinator species and create habitat all summer long. Milkweeds are an important pollinator species, as they are the only plant that monarch butterflies can lay eggs on and the only species that monarch caterpillars eat. To learn more about planting a pollinator garden, visit mdc.mo.gov.
Amazon, the giant tech and retail company, announced a competition to build a second headquarters location. Kansas City is all in on this and is now hard at work creating their proposal. The city has also worked hard over the last few years to become a destination which is nationally and internationally known for innovation as much as it's known for barbecue and fountains. The city manager has directed staff to work with the EDC to create bid partners for the proposal. Did you get a postcard in the mail about your trash? That means your trash day will soon be changing. Every few years, solid waste staff reviews population changes in the city to make sure trash pickup schedules are balanced. Beginning October 1st, trash schedules in 11 neighborhoods will move to different days to improve trash service. Here are the changes, so take a look. In the north, the Wednesday collection area south of Missouri Highway 152 from North Oak to I-435 moves to Friday. This change affects the Ridgefield neighborhood, Gashland East, and parts of Jefferson Highlands and Shoal Creek. In the south part of the city, the Wednesday collection area east of I-49 and US 71 highway from Bannister Road to Blue Ridge Boulevard moves to Friday. Neighborhoods affected by this change will be the Fairlane, Stratford Estates, and Hickman Mills neighborhoods. And the Thursday collection area from State Line Road to Troost Avenue and south of 85th to Bannister Road moves to Wednesday, and neighborhoods affected by this change will be the West Hills, Santa Fe Hills, and Boone Hills, as well as Lee Manor neighborhoods. Keep in mind that less than 5% of the city's households will be affected by these changes. For a complete list, though, of those addresses that will have new trash days, go to kcmo.gov/trash. Want to know how you or your business can save energy? Join us at the 2017 KC Green Fair on Thursday, September 21st from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at the City Market. This year's fair is all about energy and how residents can save money while being good environmental stewards. You will learn about how local businesses and organizations are contributing to the sustainability of the region, as well as the positive effects of a greener approach. That does it for this edition of the Weekly Report. To view this program again or other Channel 2 videos, go to kcmo.gov and search Channel 2. That page has a link to our YouTube channel where you can view all of our programs on demand. I'm Chris Hernandez. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.